What's up, you guys? I'm Jim.
And I'm Tom.
We're part of Jim Eat World, and this is our track by track on Rock Sound. Surviving, the title track, the first track from our album, Surviving. What do you have to say about this, Tom? What's your first thought? What's the first thing that comes into your mind about it?
It's one of my favorites to play. But
It's a favorite.
how we started it, how did that come about?
I think there's some elements on this album that that are we're really good at this. I think in general the approach to making Surviving was less is going to be a lot more. Like if you have a bunch of things that are really loud, pretty quickly it doesn't seem all that loud. So what can we take away? How little can we have to make something feel complete? So that's why, like on songs like Surviving, on songs like All the Way, and even Criminal Energy, you hear a lot of negative space in the guitar playing. Like on purpose, there's a lot of like things you're listening to silence in a lot more places than we normally use, and I think that makes things feel a lot heavier. So I mean that's kind of where the with that mindset of less is going to be a lot more, like that's sort of like how Surviving got started. Criminal Energy is it's an expression I've heard walking around in Germany actually that is used to describe a kind of moral sickness in a way. And I could have this totally wrong, but like my take on it is it's kind of something people have or have less of. You can have less of it or more of it, and if you have more of it, you're more likely to choose poorly. You're more likely to choose poorly. This is like day one of jet lag, so I might say things like haven't, choose poorly. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm making any kind of sense. So like you need to just let it, all the grammar just police need to like let go and just exist. Just let it happen here. But yeah, so I think like I was just thinking about that because it was sort of a cool expression. And I think that no one is really capable of escaping that sort of voice that will eat away at your rationalization and your justifications for choosing poorly. And no one really likes to be wrong ever. It's something that your ego kind of protects you facing up to. So instead of like, not only do people like naturally kind of choose poorly, but they'll double down on when they realize they're choosing poorly, they'll double down on their justifications and rationalizations for why they had to choose poorly. And that's something that I think no one escapes, and it's a daily effort to try to combat. Delivery, the song, is and kind of keeping with the less is going to be a lot more. We thought it'd be fun to try something where it's kind of like sort of feels like it could be a drum loop, but it's actually performed. And there's a really perverse lack of crash cymbals on this song, which is really fun. But again, I think neither of those things are things you would really recognize unless I pointed them out to you, which means it's working. I guess Deliveries is sort of about getting lost and spending the imaginary lottery winnings in your head when it comes to relationships, and how it's something you'd always be chasing instead of getting present. It's about the battle to stay present with your interactions with other people. 555 it's I don't know, it's one of those things that just kind of like the idea and the song itself kind of happened all at once.
And it was one of the last songs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was the last idea. Like we had already recorded like 15 songs.
Yeah.
And then this idea happened and we just made it happen. I guess the song is about acceptance and feeling like you're just never gonna win, even though you might be like doing all the right things. And it's easy to get lost in a sense of self-pity, but you're never going to break free from that self-pity until you come to a place of acceptance. 1 Mil is a fun kind of rah-rah sing-along song about being a loser.
I want to just leave that one.
Yeah.
Perfect car answer.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. What else is there? All the way stay. We've always wanted to try to do something where, there's this sort of gag in the 80s that happens all the time where you get to the end of a tune and then this ripping solo of something comes in and then immediately it starts fading out. So like there's this new thing that happens and it's like, oh, this sounds cool. Wait. And I don't know if that's on purpose to get people to like call in and request it again, because like that's what happened in the 80s, like, or what, or if it's like some perverse kind of thing, and we wanted to try to copy that somehow, and this one just sort of presented itself because the whole song just feels like there should be a ripping saxophone solo on it. One of the working title for All the Way Stay was called Boss. Because that's the master, the E Street Band, Clarence Clemens is like the thing for that. So we asked James King from Fits in the Tantrums to shred, because he's a shredder. And what's funny is like what he came up with was so good, we just left it all. So it's like our intentions was to have it like kind of fade out, but it's just so good that we kept it all. So now it's just a big jam at the end. Diamond is about the inability to accept incremental change. It's like why. It's like I want to be in better shape, but I only lost like 0.02 pounds today. This isn't working. Like no, like you made progress. Like why can't we accept incremental change as like good? It just has to be, I want all of it to happen now, otherwise it's a failure. But for some reason we can't, like if you would accept incremental change, you'd accomplish your goals eventually. It's like I want to have some kind of savings for a rainy day. It's like, but like, well, what are you doing to get that? Like, are you putting like a little bit of money away every day? Because like if you're waiting for like a spare grand laying around to put away, like that's never going to happen. You got to kind of like you got to come at it a little bit. But for some reason that's difficult, and I thought that was interesting. Love Never is about the maybe unhealthy expectations we have for relationships to complete us. Was that Jerry Maguire, I think, where he says like, you complete me. Like that's wrong. That's totally wrong. Until you're willing to until you want to contribute as much as you want to get back, like you're always going to be disappointed. Recommit is about battling what society tells you need to be doing, and especially with social media, like always comparing yourself to more successful things, more successful people, because we're constantly pressured to present this sort of like fake version of ourselves. Congratulations is kind of interesting because we have we were working on it, and I was just thinking, man, these vocals kind of sound like AFI vocals. They sort of sound like something AFI.
Vocals.
The whoa, just like that too. That's my sorry, Davey. That's my AFI impression. But then I was like thinking, like, well, why don't we just ask Davey to do it? And so I sent him the track and said, hey, dude, would you mind doing AFI vocals on this song? He's like, yeah, it's kind of what I do. And so he recorded it on his phone and sent it to us. And we just dropped it in, and it works.
Oh, on his phone.
Yeah. You know, it's amazing, man. The quality of their microphone on your phones are like really good. It's like most of the expense of your phone is the microphone. I mean, it's a fucking phone, so you'd imagine they kind of need it to sound good, but it sounds way better than you'd expect.